My pee-pee got pretty long from all those photos I took.
Perfect.
My name is Frank West, and I was ready to jump into the action. I needed the story of the century, so I went into the mall to find some hot photos. That lady right there, she was my front page model. The mall was overrun by zombies, thanks to Madonna. After surviving the outpouring of zombies, I met a group of survivors, Brad, Jesse, and Otis. Otis was my main man because he was always looking out for me. Too bad he always called me at the worst times. I went to meet with Brad at the food court. It turned out he was getting shot at from above. He wanted me, a photographer, to flank the shooter.
I'll give it a shot.
The shooter ran away as soon as we got close to him. Brad didn't know who the guy was, but he did know about the old man I took a photo of earlier.
Cute! Stop right there!
Jesse and I are DHS agents.
That made the incident with Jesse earlier so much better. For a government agent, she had terrible reflexes. We went back to the security office to check in on Jesse. Jesse tried to call HQ for extraction, but I couldn't keep my big mouth shut.
There's a helicopter coming. It's my ride.
Now, I had to share my ride. I ran into a bunch of psychopaths throughout my time at the mall.
Name and rank, soldier!
The one that stood out the most was Adam the Clown. It wasn't his quirky personality, it was his chainsaws. They were a godsend that I used for the rest of my time at that mall. The hot guy that shot at us earlier was dragging an old man somewhere.
That can't be good.
The bad guy upgraded to a sniper rifle, so Brad and I had to work together to get the old man, Dr. Barnaby. The long-haired guy got away again, but we finally got our hostage. Brad got shot, so I made a trip to the pharmacy. I had to talk to the store manager.
This is my store!
I didn't like his tone, so I spanked him with my chainsaws.
Have a nice day.
Speaking of spankable.
You're one tough cookie.
Yeah, she ran off.
Can't really blame her for running from a guy with your looks.
Back at the security room, Dr. Barnaby went clinically insane when we mentioned Santa Cabeza. Jesse tried to calm him down, but that was my money shot. I was denied the scoop from Dr. Barnaby, so I had to turn on the old Frank West charm and get it out of Isabella. This is a tip from Frank West. Persistence is key. After spanking her with my chainsaw, I went on top of her, and she just gave up. She started sharing her secrets, including the fact that the hot terrorist was her brother, Carlito. She promised that she would meet up with me at midnight. I believed her, because she knew I would find her if she was lying. By the way, I'm not a creep. I'm just dedicated to getting my story. I met Isabella at the spot.
Were you bitten?
No, it was Carlito.
I learned Carlito was a monster, but I was impressed that he could get away with shooting her and then convincing her that it's her fault.
He shot you?
He didn't mean to. He was upset.
I brought her back to the security room. Isabella woke up to an interrogation from Brad. She was proudly expressing her hatred towards Americans, but the one she hated the most was... Dr. Barnaby revealed that the government was conducting experiments on cattle and slaughtering village people to reduce the cost of meat.
What do you know?
Barnaby had a stroke, but he made for a good cover page. 8 hours later, Carlito sent a message talking about a last resort. He planned on bombing the tunnels, so Brad and I had to go down there to handle those bombs. I found all of the bombs and placed them in my shopping cart while Brad chased after Carlito. According to my sources, Brad almost had him, but he had terrible reflexes. I went to check on Brad. I felt bad that he wasn't going to make it, but I really needed the photos.
Perfect.
We went to Carlito's hideout to access his computer so we can figure out his next move. Before I left, I had a dilemma. I could take this photo of Isabella, which would get more views on my story. But as a man in this generation, I knew I would get a load of backlash if I took it. The choice was a hard one. I went to the butcher shop. I wanted to buy Carlito, but I needed him in one piece. This man was a dedicated butcher, but I always get my story. Carlito was dying, but he would not stop talking about his hatred towards Americans.
Hey! Stay with me!
All I got from him was his locket and a photo.
Good.
I had to give Isabella the news.
He's dead.
While she was sulking, I decided to show her the photo I took as evidence. I went back to check on Jessie. It looked like she took on 2 men at the same time. I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. But my god, did this make for a good photo.
Perfect.
The special forces arrived on the scene, so I hid with Isabella until they left. She was still mad about her brother's photo, so she told me to leave without her. My helicopter arrived, but somehow, the pilot didn't notice the zombie in it. I was gonna let myself join the zombies. But Isabella got out of her feelings and saved me. She revealed to me that I was infected, so technically, I'm still half a zombie. Isabella made a temporary cure for me. Basically, I was the test subject for Zombrex. I found a way to escape. So I grabbed Isabella, and we made our way through the tunnel. After making it out of the tunnel, we found a vehicle to finally leave. Unfortunately, we had a tank following us. Inside the tank was the Special Forces commander, Brock. He wasn't gonna let us leave without a fight. After hearing that he commanded the Santa Cabeza operation, I knew I would pound his ass in. I was confident in my answer because he couldn't properly kill a bunch of peasant villagers. What made him think he was gonna fight a photographer who covered wars? You know, I beat his ass. But we were surrounded by zombies and had nowhere left to go. I had only one option left. The scream was so loud that the next town over heard it, and they rescued us.